Welcome the rare gems. Not everyone is meant to follow the crowd. Some are born to walk alone, and that's where real strength begins. If you're a Sigma female, you already know life doesn't make things easy for you. You're wired differently, independent, strong-willed, and fiercely private. You don't ask for much, but you give a lot. And because you don't fit into the usual boxes, you face challenges most people will never understand. The hard truth? Your life is harder in ways that don't get talked about. You carry the weight of being misunderstood, underappreciated, and often expected to handle everything alone. While others take comfort in fitting in, you're breaking molds, questioning rules, and carving your own path. That takes guts. It takes grit. It's exhausting, but it's also what makes you rare and powerful. Being a Sigma female means you've had to build your strength quietly, often without support or recognition. You've learned to trust yourself more than anyone else because relying on others hasn't always been an option. That's not a flaw. It's a sign of true resilience. This isn't just about hardship. It's about the kind of strength only Sigma females have. Your struggle is part of your story, a story that deserves respect, understanding, and above all, pride. So if you felt alone or worn down, remember this. Your hard life is proof you are one of the few who refuse to settle, conform, or give up, and that, in itself, is something worth celebrating. I encourage to watch till the end for better understanding. Let's get started, the rare gems. Number 1. They're often the black sheep in their own family. Sigma females don't fit in, not even where they were born. In families that value tradition, conformity, and staying in line, a Sigma female feels like the odd one out. She's the one who doesn't just follow rules, she questions why those rules exist in the first place. She doesn't blindly accept what's passed down. She doesn't fake smiles at the dinner table, and she doesn't play along just to keep the peace. This makes her difficult. Not because she's loud or dramatic, but because her silence speaks volumes. Her distance is noticed. Her resistance to being controlled feels like rebellion to those who want obedience. And when she starts building her own path, one that doesn't follow the family's blueprint, she's quickly labeled the black sheep. It's subtle at first. Maybe she's left out of group decisions. Maybe her voice is ignored when she speaks up. Maybe she's called cold, too serious, or different. And over time, those small things pile up and isolate her even further. What hurts most? It's not outsiders misunderstanding her. It's the people she shares blood with. They assume she's distant on purpose, when in reality she's spent years trying to feel close but couldn't fake what wasn't real. While others in the family might seek validation or approval, the Sigma female seeks truth. She asks uncomfortable questions, she sets boundaries, and she refuses to play along with toxic dynamics, no matter how normal they've become in the household. And that's where the silent war begins. It's not that she wants to be the black sheep, it's that being herself makes her one. And yet, even in that role, she doesn't fold. She carves her own place in the world, not out of spite, but out of survival, out of self-respect, out of the quiet belief that there's more to life than playing by rules that never made sense in the first place. Number 2. Sigma females are punished for being too honest. Let's be real. Most people say they want honesty. But what they actually want is comfortable honesty. The kind that doesn't rock the boat. The kind that still makes them feel good about themselves. But that's not how Sigma females operate. They don't know how to fake it. Sugarcoating, people-pleasing, dancing around the truth, it all feels fake to them. So when they speak, it's raw, unfiltered, and straight from the gut. Not to hurt anyone, but because they respect truth more than they respect comfort. And that's exactly why they end up paying the price. People say they admire boldness until it's directed at them. When a Sigma female calls something out, people get defensive. Suddenly she's too blunt, too cold, or difficult. That friend who asked for advice? Ghosted. That colleague who wanted honest feedback? Now plotting behind her back. This brutal honesty makes her stand out in a world that thrives on polite lies. But it also isolates her. She loses friends for telling the truth. She's passed over at work for not being a team player. Even in relationships, her directness can be mistaken for lack of empathy, when in reality it's the highest form of care she knows, telling someone the truth, even when it's hard to hear. Sigma females aren't mean, they're just wired to value clarity over comfort, and that scares people. But here's what people don't see. Behind every raw truth is a woman who would rather lose fake friends than live in a fake reality. Someone who has had to call herself out again and again to become who she is. Someone who holds herself to the same standard she holds others. So yes, her honesty may cost her a few relationships, but it also saves her from a life full of lies. And in a world drowning in sweet talk, her truth is a rare kind of rebellion. Number 3. They rarely receive the credit they deserve. Sigma females don't chase the spotlight, they chase results. While others are busy making noise, she's in the background actually getting things done, quietly, efficiently. With precision most people don't even notice. She doesn't brag, she doesn't broadcast her wins. And that's exactly why she often gets overlooked. In group projects, she's the one doing the heavy lifting, staying up late to fix what others rushed through, double-checking what no one else thought to question. But when the praise comes, it goes to the loudest voice in the room, not the person who made it all work. She's just assumed to be the dependable one, always reliable, always solid, but rarely celebrated. It happens at work, in friendships, even in relationships. Her loyalty is taken for granted. Her effort gets chalked up to personality, not skill. People assume she doesn't need recognition, because she never asks for it. But that doesn't mean it doesn't hurt. Imagine being the architect of a masterpiece, only to watch someone else take credit because they shouted louder. That's her reality, more times than she'd admit. She operates with such self-sufficiency that people forget she still feels. That even though she walks alone, she still wants to be seen. She wants someone, just once, to say, "I noticed what you did." And it mattered. But Sigma females don't break down when they're overlooked. They take note. They remember. And they keep going anyway, not because they don't care, but because they care more about the truth than the applause. Still, it can wear on her. Constantly giving, rarely acknowledged. She builds empires in silence, only to stand at the edge wondering if anyone even sees the foundation she laid. So, if you ever cross paths with a Sigma female, take a moment. Look closer. Behind that calm face and quiet presence is someone whose work is holding more weight than you know. She doesn't ask for credit, but she's earned every bit of it, and then some. Number 4. Their nonconformity limits career and social options. Sigma females don't just think outside the box, they live outside of it. And while that sounds empowering, the truth is it comes with real-world consequences, especially when it comes to careers and social circles. In most workplaces, the path to success is simple. Nod, agree, follow the rules, don't ask too many questions. But that's exactly what Sigma females can't do. They question everything, they challenge outdated systems. They refuse to play office politics or fake friendships just to climb the ladder, and because of that they are often passed over, not because they lack talent, but because they are too independent. Not a team player, or not quite a cultural fit. Translation: she won't be controlled. Imagine a Sigma female in a corporate meeting. Everyone's nodding at a bad idea just to keep the peace. She raises her hand and says, "This doesn't make sense. Have we looked at it this way instead?" The room goes quiet. She's right, but now she's disruptive. In the eyes of rigid systems, conformity is loyalty and anything else is a threat. So doors close quietly. Promotions stall. Opportunities magically disappear. All because she had the audacity to think for herself. Socially, it's not much different. She doesn't fake small talk. She doesn't blend in to feel accepted, and she won't trade authenticity for approval. That means fewer invitations, fewer social safety nets, and often standing alone in rooms full of people trying to impress each other. But here's the twist. Even though her path is harder, it's hers. She may take the longer road, she may lose some perks, but she never loses herself. And in a world full of masks and mindless following, that makes her rare and powerful. So yes, nonconformity limits the easy options, but it also protects her from selling her soul for convenience. And for Sigma females, that trade-off is always worth it. Number 5. They carry emotional scars from early rejection. For many Sigma females, the world didn't start out kind. While other kids were fitting in, being picked for teams, getting invited to parties, or having close circles of friends, she was the one left out. Not because she wasn't smart, interesting, or capable, but because she didn't follow the script. She was too thoughtful, too observant, too different. And when you're a child or teenager, different doesn't get praised, it gets punished. So she sat alone at lunch. She was called weird, her silence was mocked, her curiosity misunderstood, and that's where the emotional armor began to form, not out of pride, but out of survival. Fast forward to adulthood, and she still carries that quiet pain. No, she's not bitter, she's just guarded. She doesn't trust quickly, she doesn't open up easily, and she doesn't chase connection like everyone else does, because she remembers what it felt like to be ignored, or worse, accepted temporarily, only to be used. Picture a house built from scratch in a storm. That's her inner world. Every wall is reinforced with lessons. Every locked door comes from a past betrayal. She might smile, she might engage, but deep down she's always watching, waiting to see if this time is different. And here's the catch. People often confuse her emotional self-control for coldness. They say she's too detached, too private, too hard to reach, but what they don't realize is that she had to become this way. Because when you're rejected for who you are early on, you start learning how to rely on yourself, and only yourself. The scar doesn't make her weak, it makes her sharp. She reads people faster, she catches red flags quicker. But deep down, she still wants real connection. She just refuses to beg for it anymore. So if you ever get close to a Sigma female, understand, there's a history beneath that calm face. One filled with early rejection, quiet resilience, and the decision to survive on her own terms. And that's not weakness, that's strength, born the hard way. Number 6. They bear the weight of being called uncooperative or rebellious. Sigma females don't follow the herd, and the world doesn't like that. In schools, jobs, even families, there's always this unspoken rule. Do what you're told. Don't ask too many questions. Stay in line. But Sigma females, they don't blindly follow. They ask, why? They question the structure. They resist anything that feels fake or unfair. And the moment they do that, they're labeled difficult, stubborn, uncooperative, rebellious. But here's what most people miss. They're not trying to be rebellious just to make noise. They're not drama-driven. They're truth-driven. They simply can't play along with systems that feel dishonest, rigid, or shallow. That doesn't mean they can't work with others or be part of a team. It just means they need purpose, not pointless obedience. They need honesty, not fake smiles. Still, refusing to conform comes at a cost. Promotions get delayed, opportunities get passed over, social groups quietly shut them out, and people with less talent but better obedience get ahead faster. Why? Because Sigma females don't say yes just to please. They don't do fake flattery. And they don't shrink themselves to fit in boxes they never asked to be part of. So, progress for them, it's slow, it's uphill, it's often lonely, but it's real. And that's what they care about. The irony? These so-called rebels are usually the ones quietly holding everything together. They're the ones seeing flaws in the system and thinking of smarter ways to do things. But because they refuse to be yes women, they get labeled instead of listened to. Still, they keep pushing forward, authentic, unfiltered, unbought. Because at the end of the day, being misunderstood is hard. But living a lie just to be accepted, that's harder. So if you ever meet a Sigma female who's been called difficult, don't flinch. That's usually code for she's honest, she's strong, she can't be controlled. And that's exactly why the system tries to break her. Number 7. They're perpetually misunderstood in relationships. One of the hardest things Sigma females go through? Being constantly misunderstood in relationships. They love, deeply, but not loudly. Their loyalty is solid, quiet, and consistent. They don't need to broadcast it, chase anyone, or cling. They show up in actions, not theatrics. But because they also value space and autonomy, people often misread them. To some, their independence feels cold. Their need for solitude looks like disinterest. Their quiet affection gets mistaken for emotional distance. And over time, that misunderstanding chips away at the connection. The partner starts asking, why don't you open up more, or are you even into this? Meanwhile, The Sigma female is sitting there thinking, I show up, I'm loyal, I support you, how is that not enough? What most people don't understand is that Sigma females aren't built for clingy dynamics. They don't fall in love with someone just to lose themselves in the process. They need room to breathe, to think, to recharge. That's not rejection, it's how they sustain love. But in a world that often equates love with constant contact, reassurance, and emotional exposure, their way of loving feels confusing. So even though they may have strong, loyal hearts, they end up alone, not because they didn't care, but because someone assumed they didn't. And here's the kicker. They rarely explain themselves. They don't like justifying their nature. They believe the right person should just get it. So when things fall apart, they simply accept it, learn the lesson, and keep moving. Still, it hurts, every time. Because the truth is, Sigma females want connection. They just refuse to settle for a version that demands they shrink or pretend. Until someone sees their need for space as part of their depth, not a flaw, they'll continue to be misunderstood. But that's the price of authenticity, and they're willing to pay it. Number 8. They're forced to be their own rescue plan. When life starts crumbling for a Sigma female, there's no dramatic rescue, no emotional support squad racing in, no one saying, don't worry, I've got you. Instead, what she usually gets is silence, or worse, applause for being so strong while she's quietly falling apart inside. See, society loves to label women like her as independent, resilient, and tough. But behind all those compliments is a painful assumption. She doesn't need help. So when she's drowning, people just assume she's swimming. No one stops to think that maybe she's tired of always being the fixer, that maybe she too wants to break down without judgment, that maybe the strong one needs saving sometimes too, but she knows better than to wait around. She's learned that no one's coming, not emotionally, not financially, not even spiritually. So she becomes her own rescue plan, every time. She Googles the answers, she makes the phone calls, she fixes the mess even when she didn't create it. And she gets back up, not because she's okay, but because no one else is going to do it for her. And let's be real, this kind of strength doesn't feel powerful, it feels lonely, it feels heavy. It's not about pride, it's about survival. When you've been let down enough times, you stop expecting a hand to reach for yours. You just keep your hands busy building your own ladder out of the pit. People admire her grit, but they never ask what it cost her to develop it. How many times she had to pick herself up off the floor, how many nights she cried alone, then wiped her face and got back to work. She doesn't talk about it. She just keeps going. Because the Sigma female doesn't wait to be rescued, she becomes the rescue every single time. But don't mistake that for not needing support. She does. She just learned long ago that depending on others comes with a risk, and she's already been burned. Number 9. They have to parent themselves. Most people don't see it, but behind every calm, grounded Sigma female is a girl who had to raise herself. She wasn't handed a guidebook. She wasn't taught how to deal with her emotions, trust others, or feel safe in the world. Instead, she had to figure it out on her own, piece by piece, pain by pain. Maybe she grew up in a loud house, where chaos ruled and no one noticed how overwhelmed she felt. Or maybe it was quiet, too quiet. The kind of silence that comes from emotional distance, where no one really checked in, listened, or offered comfort when she needed it. So, she became her own parent. She learned early how to calm herself down when she was scared, how to talk herself through heartbreak, how to be her own cheerleader when no one clapped for her. While other people were leaning on family or mentors, she was leaning on grit, instinct, and raw survival. She learned to self-soothe, self-motivate, and self-correct, all before most people even knew what those words meant. But here's the painful truth. Parenting yourself leaves scars. It builds strength, yes, but it also builds a quiet kind of grief, because deep down she knows what she missed. She knows what it feels like to long for guidance, protection, or unconditional love and not get it. And while she rarely talks about it, that ache never fully disappears. Still, she keeps building. She sets boundaries she was never taught to have. She gives herself rest when no one told her it was okay to pause. She becomes the voice she needed growing up, the one that says, "You've got this," when things fall apart. So if she seems mature beyond her years, emotionally sharp and wise in ways that feel almost unnatural, it's because she had no choice. She wasn't raised, she rose. And that's why her strength runs deeper than most will ever understand. Number 10. They can't turn their mind off. Even when everything outside is calm, no noise, no deadlines, no people, inside a Sigma female's head, it's a full-blown storm. Her mind never really rests. While others can watch a movie and just watch the movie, she's dissecting the plot, analyzing the characters, thinking about how it relates to real life, or maybe even planning her next 5 moves all at once. Even in moments meant for peace, she's scanning for patterns, red flags, or missed details from 5 years ago. It's not overthinking for the sake of it, it's survival. She had to be this way. Growing up, she probably couldn't afford to just relax. Maybe no one was watching out for her. Maybe she had to make sense of chaos alone. So now, her brain stays switched on, always alert, always working. She'll be lying in bed, lights off, body tired, but her mind is busy rewriting a conversation from earlier that didn't sit right, or planning a backup plan to the backup plan, or worrying about someone she loves. Her body may be still, but her thoughts are running a marathon. People envy her intelligence, her awareness, her ability to stay 3 steps ahead, but they don't see the cost. Exhaustion that sleep can't fix. An inability to be truly present, a constant hum of mental pressure like background noise she can't mute. Silence, for most, brings peace. For her, it often brings more noise, and when she tries to share this, people tell her to just stop thinking so much, as if there's an off switch she's refusing to hit. But that's the thing, Sigma females don't have the luxury of turning it off. Their mind is both their power and their prison. They don't want pity. They just want someone to understand that being smart, aware, and mentally sharp comes with a weight they carry every single day. Number 11. They live with a constant internal war, freedom versus connection. One of the hardest truths about being a Sigma female, she's constantly torn between 2 things she can't live without, but can't seem to have at the same time: freedom and connection. She wants real connection. Something raw, something that goes beyond small talk and surface-level friendships. She craves intimacy that's built on truth, depth, and mutual respect. But the moment someone gets too close, there's a voice inside her that starts whispering, "Don't get too comfortable." Because she also needs space like she needs air. She values her autonomy like it's sacred. She doesn't want to be someone's everything, or worse, feel owned. She needs to be able to walk her own path without someone asking, "Where are you going?" Or "Why didn't you check in?" And that's where the war begins. If she leans into connection, she feels trapped. If she leans into freedom, she feels lonely. She's had people walk away because they thought she was too distant. She's also walked away from people she deeply cared about, because their version of love came with shackles. It's not that she doesn't want to be close, she just wants closeness without losing herself. But the world isn't built for that. Most people want all of you, or nothing. So the Sigma female ends up stuck, wanting to be seen, but terrified of being caged, wanting to love, but scared that love will come with conditions. This internal tug-of-war never really goes away. It's quiet, but constant. A push and pull that keeps her heart tired, and her mind overthinking. And unless she meets someone who truly understands her rhythm, who gives her room to breathe while still standing close, she keeps her guard up. Not because she's cold, but because the cost of connection, for her, has always felt like the price of freedom, and she won't pay that price, not anymore. In final words, strength isn't about carrying the world on your shoulders. It's about knowing when to stand tall, even if you stand alone. Being a Sigma female means walking a path that's rarely understood. The world doesn't always make room for those who don't fit the mold, those who refuse to play by the usual rules, who value their freedom over comfort, and who face life's challenges head-on without a safety net. Yes, it's hard. It's exhausting. It's lonely at times. But that's also what makes Sigma females incredibly rare and powerful. You carry your own weight and so much more, with quiet resilience. You've learned to be your own rescue plan because no one else seemed willing or able to step up. You see the world with sharper eyes, feeling the push and pull of wanting connection but needing space. You've faced rejection, misunderstood motives, and emotional storms that could have broken most people, yet here you are, still standing. If you're a Sigma female, remember this. Your struggles don't make you weak. They forge your strength. Your refusal to conform isn't stubbornness, it's wisdom. Your deep loyalty and fierce independence are not contradictions. They're your unique power. You're not meant to be easily understood or fit into easy boxes. You're meant to carve your own way, on your own terms. And while that road might be harder, it's also the one that leads to a life lived with true authenticity and fierce freedom. So when the world weighs heavy and the silence feels deafening, remind yourself, you are rare, you are strong, and you are enough, exactly as you are. Thank you for watching The Rare Gems, and God bless you.